So we're on. Funny one this week, because we've got Nacho with us from Black Chest. How you doing, brother?
Indeed.
You good?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having
good,
me.
mate. Good. You'd swear that you may have been sat off in the wings there and we recorded 2 podcasts in one day. You'd have thought.
You would have thought. No.
It's laundry day, mate, in my house. That's why I'm wearing the same clothes. Yeah, absolutely. So, Natch, mate, thank you once again. Thank you very much for making the journey,
mate. Of course,
man.
I know, thank you for having me.
We're in the bottom of the world here, mate, compared to where you're at.
Oh, you don't know the bottom of the world. Well, maybe you do. Yeah.
Well, mate, welcome. You run, essentially, mate, a business that looks after cases, travel accessories for watches and the things that we like to keep with watches. You've got a very interesting background, mate. Before we get into the business element of stuff, I always like to go back to the beginning with the guests, find out who you are, where you grew up, what's your story,
of course,
mate?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in South America.
Okay.
In a little country called Uruguay, just below Brazil, east of Argentina.
Yeah.
And really my background's always been, sort of the one thing solid in my life's always been IT.
Okay.
I worked in IT since I can remember. I mean, I used to fix computers when I was 9 years old. When computers weren't what they are today.
No. Very different things, mate.
Yeah, they were more tactile things.
I think we're old enough to remember.
We are indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. We leave that alone.
Indeed. But so that was always a constant in my life. It was always the thing that sort of covered all my other hobbies, paid the bills, and,
of course,
and maintained some sanity.
Yeah.
Because on the other side of things, I like adrenaline quite a lot. So,
yes.
I've done silly things in my life. Silly things that you look at them now and you go, Jesus, how are you still alive?
Yeah, you like fast cars, fast bikes, jumping out of airplanes.
Yeah, all that stuff. It's the adrenaline, isn't it?
Of course,
and I didn't get sort of a family commitment until later in life.
Yeah,
Which meant that I could almost do those things without much of risk of leaving people behind or that kind of thing. Obviously, I've got my family, but it was always sort of me, myself, and
you could take risks.
Yeah. And as a young guy, you always take silly risks that you wouldn't take as an older guy.
Absolutely.
So a lot of the stuff I wouldn't do today.
No,
no chance. And I don't think somebody my age in this day and age could do it.
No,
because it's a different world from 25 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yes.
So I've always sort of on the fringe of things. I try to balance the geekiness because I am a geek.
I think we all are.
No mistake. I am a technology geek.
Yeah.
I like gear. I like cameras. And I've always been very interested in photography and cinematography and film and things like that. It was always something that interests me. So as I grew up, I got more involved, so I started shooting film, and but the problem with that is that it, in what I like to call the third world, it's really expensive. It was really expensive to shoot film because you're spending money every click you get. So I remember the sort of epiphany that I got when my mum and dad got the first digital camera.
Wow!
I remember what it was. It was a Kodak DZ3200.
Wow!
Look it up. 1.3 megapixels, and it had a little screen at the back, which was unheard of. And that sort of transformed. I was hooked. I wanted to do photography. I wanted to do anything that was related to that. So I grew up with that sort of dream of getting involved in that. And tangentially and not so tangentially, I got involved sort of in the film industry. I worked in there for a while.
In South America?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shooting either films or advertising, mostly advertising and things like that, campaigns. So I worked in a couple of production companies. And I was involved in the motorcycle world quite a lot. So I ended up becoming sort of BMW Motorrads, the side of BMW that does motorbikes. I became their photographer, so I used to take their bikes out and do
adventure bikes all over South America.
Adventure bikes, pretty much.
What a life.
And it was a lot of taking BMW customers around and taking their pictures and things like that. But it allowed me to see a lot of places and mostly get time in the saddle, get time in a bike and adventure bikes and things like that. But it also meant that you had to risk a number of thousands of pounds of gear, put them in a backpack and just follow these nutters around and take their pictures. So all of that brought me into the sort of the photography world proper, where, you know, you start getting paid for things. You know, when you're quite young, you start getting paid for taking pictures and things like that. And then I started working for a British guy that had sort of high-end houses in South America, where he would rent them to famous people.
Like an Airbnb for...
Like an Airbnb, but like a full-on service. They had, like, you know, the house was fully staffed.
Okay,
And you had a driver outside waiting for you and a chef inside. So these were, you know, massive mansions and things like that, helipads. Think about that kind of thing. So I would go and shoot those houses for him to advertise them. So it was really strange. It was really a really weird world where you met people that, you know, they're outside your everyday almost.
And you learn so much off these people, right? Do you know what I mean? Like that's an opportunity for growth as well.
Massive amounts. Because you start seeing things that you think you know what's important to these people, and it's totally the opposite thing.
Absolutely.
I had guys that you know, they were literally billionaires looking right next to the camera and saying, "Oh, well, what are you doing there? Why are you doing that? Why would you, like, you know, you can make this over 100 times.
Of course,
So you get to know a lot of people, you get to relate to a lot of people in different ambience of the world. So, you know, I got really strange relationships all over the world with people that you would think, like,
how's that happened?
Exactly. And obviously from the technology world, I because I work in the type of industry I work in, you know, infrastructure and things like that, you tend to meet decision makers in that area where you know, you present projects and things like that, and then they're the ones that, and then you tend to build relationships. You know, I've got a background in cybersecurity and things like that, so you tend to meet the people that make the decisions around your advice, which is really bizarre, because you think, well, you know, I'm a nobody. Why are you listening to me? But yeah, I mean that sort of built my early years, and photography was always a constant. Photography, video, you know, I had a camera strapped to my bike or my helmet all the time. You know, I was very early on with that kind of thing, going pros and things like that. And then, so I've been all over the place. I worked for an American company, so, you know, been there, here, and everywhere. And then my brother's been in the UK for a number of years. So he originally moved to Spain, and then very early into that migration, he moved to the UK. He moved to Scotland, met somebody, moved here with her.
I was wondering why, mate. Like I can imagine, the South American guy, like just pulling the blinds open one morning, just sunshine, palm trees, the ocean, and
well, you know, they tell you it. They tell you.
Yeah, there's got to be more to life than this. I'm going to Scotland.
Well, I tell you what, it's funny because they tell you these things. That, you know, people from Scotland will tell you, you know, why are you? And you go, it can't possibly be that bad. It bloody is. Yeah. You see the sun once every 6 months, and for like 12 seconds, and then it goes away. So I've got vitamin D deficiency. Like I need the sun. So, but yeah, I mean, he moved here. They've got a big family, loads of kids, and you know, I was missing out on that.
Of course, the family element. Stuff,
and I didn't have, like, my brother moved very early on. So
I'm assuming he's older.
My brother's 3 years older than me. Almost to the day.
Yeah.
And obviously, we missed out on a lot of that growing up during those years together. So he wasn't part of, like, my motorcycle career. He wasn't part of, like, my photography career. He was, you know, he moved when I was very young. So if you think about it, we didn't share a lot of those things. So I came to visit him, I think it was in 2010, when, do you know, remember that volcanic ash cloud thing?
Yes.
And I had to stay here for longer.
Iceland, wasn't it?
Yeah, Iceland, yeah. So all flights got cancelled. I had to stay here. And I fell in love with the place. I fell in love with the country. And the people, and the sense of humour in the Scottish sort of community is very much like mine, very dry, very...
I'm from a Celtic country, mate, and we share, as many of us would say, the crack. Do you know what I mean? Across a lot of Scotland, Ireland, and Wales is a very similar humour set. And we joke about Scotland, mate, and it's unfair. It's one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
It's like when we joke about the Argentinians. You know, I've got loads of friends out in Argentina, but yeah, there's that sort of an underlying rivalry. And so what happened was, on my industry, on the IT industry, I sort of hit a ceiling. We spoke about this before. I hit a ceiling where really the IT industry wasn't growing any more than what it was. And I saw an opportunity to say, well, you know, there was already talks about sort of Brexit and things like that. I'm an Italian citizen, so we all are from my family side. So I thought it's really now or never, because if this gets voted in, which will never happen, but there you go.
Yeah.
Then I'll lose the opportunity. So I can always come back if I need to, if I want to.
Yeah.
And then I decided, one day I decided, why not? I don't have kids. I'm not married.
You're not to lose.
So I jumped on a plane literally, and I joke about this with my wife because she is the biggest sort of suitcase person to go on holidays with. I jumped on a plane to move forever, sold everything I had, with a carry-on suitcase and a backpack full of camera gear. To live the rest of my life in another continent. Now we go on holidays for a week. We take 6 suitcases. It's ridiculous.
No, I get it. I get it.
And then I moved here, moved in with my brother for a while. Eventually, after sort of rocky interviews and things like that, I got a job in the IT industry. And photography sort of went away a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
The motorbike thing went away. I didn't have a license to ride on the road. By this point, I know nothing about watches, by the way. We'll get into that very quickly. But I completely lost interest in photography. I was very focused on trying to build my life here and things like that. I met the woman that is now my wife.
The woman of your dreams, Nacho.
Yes, the woman of my dreams, yes.
You said that earlier.
All my nightmares.
I was trying to save you that, mate. I was trying to pull you I was trying to build you up, mate. You took my legs from under me.
So what happened was that I sort of ran out of the interest of photography, sort of got a bit tired. And I've got a good friend back home. She always enjoyed my photography. She races motorbikes and things like that. She always enjoyed my photography. She always said, you could rule the world with this. You're so good, man. Calm down. And then she colluded with my wife because she said, I want you to get back into this. What would it take? So she colluded with my wife behind my back to get me a brand new camera.
Wow.
To get me back into it. And she came over for my birthday, and that happened. She got me a brand new camera. She got me, at the time, it was a 5D Mark IV.
Wow.
It was the lady of Canon.
The flagship.
The flagship, the best thing. And she got me back into it. And I started shooting EDC stuff. I always been into like knives and things like that. I know there's a bad word here, and people sort of tend to walk away a little bit.
There's an element of legality around that, mate. And I've always carried a knife. It's part of it. Like, I grew up in Wales. I spent much of my life on the water. A pocket knife is fundamental.
It's a practical tool to have. It's not just you're an axe murderer if you carry a 3-inch blade.
No.
But I started shooting that. I started an Instagram account, and it sort of started growing with things like that. And then a friend of mine, Chris, we know each other from a work relationship, but he's a really good guy. He's a proper collector. I call him a hoarder because he won't get rid of watches, but he's a proper collector. He had one day in one of the meetings, he had a Seiko Turtle Paddy, that blue sunray dial.
I know exactly the watch you're talking about.
He had it on a Italian rubber NATO strap, red. And it was beautiful. I go, what's this about? What is this? I knew, G-Shocks and
of course
and things like that. And I thought an Apple Watch was expensive. Little did I know. So he essentially got me into watches, and he was like, "You need to go and see my friend. They sell watches and that and whatnot, and go and see what they were." And I bought my first nice watch. It was a Citizen Super Titanium diving watch with a GMT complication. I still have it. It's beautiful. And it was like under 400 quid. It was great. And I started photographing that. And then I eventually got myself a Paddy as well. Started photographing that. And then I bought a strap, an A strap, because I really like that. I bought it from Adrian.
Shout out Ed.
Shout out to Adrian. And I took a couple of pictures. And then by then I was aware of his YouTube channel and things like that.
Course.
And then he commented on one of my pictures, and I was blown away. And then he contacted me, and then I started shooting more things, and then I got to the point where I ran out of watches to shoot. And this is where sort of the whole topic begins. My watch industry career begins. I needed to get my hands on nicer watches to shoot, to grow my Instagram, because I was really liking the idea. And I found these local guys on Facebook Marketplace. They were selling really nice watches, Rolex, Omega, Tudor. Their photographs were not great, let's say that. And I messaged them with the full hope that they were going to say, bugger off, mate.
Yeah.
With a name like Nacho, who the bloody hell are you? And instead of that, they said, well, we'll book a table at a restaurant. Let's have a chat. We're interested.
Yeah.
And long story short, great relationship with the guys. Started shooting their watches. And it went on from there. And at one point, I find myself, and this is where we sort of segue to Black Chest, I find myself with a handful of watches, a handful of knives, and pry bars and things like that the EDC community has.
Of course, yeah.
And I thought, they're all over the place. I'd love to get just a case to put everything in, just
Absolutely.
for me.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed. I've got an obsessive personality. With anything that I like and enjoy, I'll get proper into it, and I'll drill into the details and things like that.
Yeah.
Proper obsessive. And I bought a case from a brand that I knew already from the film industry. And I, it had that pick and pluck foam thing that you.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Squares
We see it a lot in firearms and stuff like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
And then I did one for my watches and my knives, and it looked like crap. It just looked like crap, and I thought, I'm not happy with this, and there must be a better way. So I started doing some research on what could be done, and I found a partner in Canada.
Wow.
That did sort of custom instances and things like that. And I started playing with the idea of doing a case for me with cool things.
Yeah.
And I eventually came up with a design, a multi-layer design, which is now the 6-watch 2 EDC case that we sell.
Yep.
And I made it for me, totally for me. Never had any idea. I'm not from a business background. I don't know what I'm doing in the business industry. I was never planning to make anything for sale. It was always for me.
Yeah.
I like custom things. I like, to get involved, hands-on. I like to build things.
Yeah.
I like mechanics and things like that.
Yeah.
And I made it, brought it home, and it looked brilliant. Yeah. And I took some pictures, some nice pictures, put them on Instagram, forgot about it.
Yeah. And
then I had a guy, former military guy,
goes,
that's really cool. How much are they?
Yeah.
Where can I buy them? And I said, no, what? No.
Yeah.
And then Adrian said, I sent some pictures and he was like, mate, you have to make this for sale.
Yeah.
You have to. These need to go out. You have to make them for sale. And so I spoke to this military guy and he was like, how much are you charging for them? And I just came up with a figure in my mind.
Yeah. Was he UK military?
So he's an expert. So he lives somewhere else.
Okay. Yeah.
But he's a former.
British.
He's British.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to buy this. And then I came up with a figure. I pulled it out of my bottom side. Just I don't know. And I thought, this is what it'll cost. Yeah. And he went, yes. And I've got some friends that will want some too. I was like, oh shit, now I have to make these.
This is a thing.
I have to make them. And then Black Chest was born.
Wow.
I had to have a brand. I've got a background in graphic design. So I used to run a web and graphic design team. So I designed a little logo and designed a brand around it. And started selling them on Instagram on a DM kind of situation. I didn't have a website or anything like that. And the funny thing is that when you're in an industry, you neglect yourself the most, right? So if you know how to make knives, your own personal knives are all crap.
Of course, yeah.
So it took me, I'm king procrastinator, by the way, right? So I take forever because I'll look into the details and things and it just won't release things until they're perfect. And I've always been, my dad's always told me, never let the perfect be the enemy of the good enough. If it's good enough, get it out.
Yeah.
And I've always struggled with that.
Yeah.
So I never got a website for like 2 years. And the website was ready. I was paying the Shopify account. The website was ready, but I kept on
tinkering with fonts and colours. It's the wrong
I don't
shade.
like that picture, so I'll take another picture, but it'll take me 2 weeks to take that picture because I need to pull together some watches. I don't have enough.
Okay.
And then they started to become popular, and it's been up for some there. The website was released halfway through last year, and it meant that it could grow much quicker because all of a sudden I don't have to ask for people to give me their details over over Instagram DM and send them a PayPal link and things
yes,
like that.
The consumers, of course, they're a lot more comfortable.
Yeah. And also it means that I'm not the bottleneck answering DMs, things like that.
Yeah.
That people just go to the website, order them,
course.
and Bob's your uncle. So it's grew arms and legs. So yeah, it's been upwards and onwards from there.
Mate, I've seen them. I've got one. I've had hands on with a few different pieces from you, mate, and they're fantastic. They really are fantastic.
Thanks so much.
In like a bit of an overview, because I'm conscious there'll be guys listening, mate, that haven't necessarily got visibility over the product range or of just heard about you now. They're possibly driving, cutting the grass, doing whatever. Like, in a nutshell, explain to us what the case is. What is it?
So the case, our product line is really meant to amalgamate protecting your luxury items with a sense of proper adventure and ruggedness. Right? The idea is that I mean, I don't have a vision and things like that. This came out of, I made something for me and people liked it.
Yeah.
So the idea is that you've got your Rolexes, your Omegas, your expensive watches and whatnot. But you put them in this case and you can literally run them over your car, throw them out of an airplane, take them in water, they will float.
Yeah.
They're water tight so that water won't get into them. Yeah. And they've got a pressure equalizing valve so you can drop them on the cargo compartment on an airplane where, if an item is sealed and it's got air inside, it's got the same amount of pressure that's outside. The moment you take pressure from the outside, that thing starts to swell because the pressure inside is bigger than the outside. So you need some form of equalization so that the thing doesn't explode.
I've stumbled across similar things in the past, mate, without the equalization, and you take them on a flight or you do whatever, you get the other side, you can't open them. Yeah. You're there, pulling that pocket knife out of your pocket, trying to smash through the box.
Exactly. So the idea is, to cover all of those aspects, but also it needs to look cool.
This podcast is sponsored by zulualphastraps.com. Zulu Alpha Straps make some of the best watch straps in the market, and we do it all here in the UK by hand. As a listener of the Making Time podcast, you can enjoy 15% off on your next order by using the discount code MakingTime15. Your support makes this podcast possible, so please head over to zulualphastraps.com so we can continue to bring you fresh content. Now, back to the show. Yeah.
And I think that's the only thing I would say, I've chosen the right case manufacturer because the cases look great.
Yeah.
And it's also that, we've got a 12 watch case, right? Yeah. And it's almost like a showcase piece. So I've got my 12 watch case in one of my shelves in my office. Yeah. And it's open. So it's always, my watches are always on display. Yeah. But if I need to take some watches, I'll grab one of my 4 watch cases.
Yes.
That's more sort of practicality because it's a multi-layer design.
Trial. Yeah.
So you take 4 watches plus all your straps, plus your tools, plus, spring bars and things like that you might need when you're traveling. And it's this little case that you can pretty much put anywhere.
Mate, that's fascinating on its own, isn't it? Right? Because like by your own admission, it wasn't all that long ago you weren't a watch guy, right?
Oh no, 5 years ago I didn't know anything about watches.
Yet all watch guys, when we travel, like to have options.
You do, don't you?
Like I hounded my wife for years, like over what bag she's taking, what shoes, outfits, this, that, and the other. Mate, I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm like, oh, right, okay, so we're having a week in the south of France. We're going to be going out for dinner. We're going to be going in the pool, going in the sea, doing this. Well, I'll need this watch for this. I'll need that watch for that. Mate,
because you do it,
of course,
right?
that's what we do.
You can't go to dinner with like a 1,000-meter diver. You go to dinner with like a dress. Of
course, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my wife takes a mick now because in the mornings I'll go and I'll open my watch case and go, I'm going to the office today. Well, and she was like, just get bloody dressed.
Yeah. Just pick one.
Yeah. I'm in my pants, just picking a watch.
Yeah.
Maybe TMI there, but
no, mate. There's people listening to this laughing though because we all do the same thing,
right?
mate.
I don't care about what I'm going to be wearing. No. I care about what I'm going to be wearing.
The shower, the underpants go on, and then we pick.
And
then
you pick the watch.
Absolutely,
right? Yeah. And one of the things that took me to the case manufacturer is Nacho. Nacho mostly makes things for the military.
Yes.
So the largest majority of their production is a Canadian firm. Yeah. The largest majority of their production goes to the military. Yeah. But a funny fact about this is obviously everybody knows Pelican.
Yeah.
Not everyone knows Nacho because again their target audience is more like government contracts.
Yes.
But the reason I knew Nanook was in the film industry. I worked for a production company that it was a very small sort of setting where they had like a white room where they would film white background content, things like that. But they would also record audio there. So anything that made a noise was a problem. So pelicans were banned.
You're too noisy. That click.
The clasp, the latch. It has to make a noise because it's force-based.
Of course.
So they had these Nanook cases.
That's fascinating,
where you've got like a 2-stage, so you press the button and then you can do it literally silently if you want.
Yeah, of course.
Now, picture this. It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You're getting up to go to work.
Yeah.
Your wife's still in the bed.
Yeah.
You know how it is. They don't care.
Of course.
We need to be ninjas when we get out of bed,
absolutely.
right? They can just bang the
Yeah.
So you get out of bed, you get dressed in silence.
Yeah.
You do all of that. You're about to leave and you go, I'm going to pick up my watch.
Yeah.
Clack, clack.
Oh, mate, yeah.
She's going to murder you in your sleep.
Yeah.
So this thing, I know it seems like a silly thing, but it's,
It allows you to be clandestine.
I've got a wife and a daughter.
Yes.
So I'm outnumbered already.
Mate,
and both of them have very light sleeps.
Yeah.
So you go very silently, you open this, you take your watch, you close it back, very silently put it back together. It requires no force, requires no thing. It's just, it's very well laid out and they're very secure.
Yeah.
And again, they look cool. They've got features that you wouldn't think if you had one case that would be useful. But for instance, the handle self-locks in place. So it doesn't rattle if you're transporting it.
Yes.
The bottom of the case and the top of the case are complementary. So they lock. So when you put more than one case on top of each other, they will lock. The feet of the bottom are laid out on the top as well, like holes.
Yeah.
So they will lock. So you can stack them up and transport them without them moving. So there's loads of cool things. So I try to make, from the functionality of the case itself, I try to follow that up with functionality on the inside. So all of our cases have some form of a pocket, a slot, something for you to carry more than just your watches. Because you make straps. You're an ideal customer for me.
Yeah, of course.
You're former military, so you know what these things are.
Yeah.
You like watches.
Yeah.
You travel with watches, and you've got loads of straps.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is a product that allows you to sort of travel the world, go away, and multiply your options. Because all of a sudden you've got your watch, but you've got 5 NATO straps with it. Now you've got 5 watches.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like the 4 watch case, which are more popular products.
So what sizes do you? Where does it start?
It starts on the 4 watch.
Yeah.
Then you go to the second tier, which is your 6 watch and your 12 watch are made out of the same shell.
Yeah.
The 12 watch is just 12 watches, not multi-layer. It's got a covered pocket, so you can put things that would normally scratch a watch.
Of course, yeah.
In that thing, and then cover it with a foam lid.
Yeah. That could be your spring bar tool.
Your spring bar
links,
tool,
whatever it may be.
Your bracelet, if you want to take your bracelet with you. So they don't rattle, they stay in there.
Yeah.
The foam in the inside is made out of this high density, very soft foam. It won't scratch your watches or anything like that. Even your most delicate, like gold and things like that could scratch really easily. And then so the 12 carries 12 watches and it's got a couple of pockets for straps and things.
Yeah.
Then the 6 is my original design. Yeah. It's got 6 watches on one side with slots with straps, and then two stackable layers on the other side. So it's split in half.
Wow.
And that stackable layer has room for knives, tools, straps.
Whatever you want to put in there.
So you pull one out, and the bottom one has bigger pockets to put bigger things.
Right? Yeah.
Then from there, you move to the big boy. So we released our biggest case on the 1st of January this year. And that case has been in the making for a long time because, like I said, I'm a perfectionist.
Of course.
So I will iterate and iterate and iterate until I get the right thing. So this is a type of a big collector, dealer kind of product.
Yeah.
So the idea is you've got a bigger briefcase type case with the same latches as all the other ones, but these are lock and key. So they're TSA approved keys. So if you're traveling and they need to open them, they can open them. They don't have to break them. And it's your top layer has 22 watches with a big black chest logo in the middle. And so all of your watches are on display. The moment you open the case, you're displayed with all of your watches. And then it's got 2 handles on the sides where you lift the top layer. And underneath, you've got very strategically designed pockets to put your straps, your bracelets, your tools, but at a much bigger scale. This is something that you're going to go to a watch show You're going to go to a meetup. You're a dealer that's traveling and showing watches to clients. So you get this space. And the critical thing for me was that the top layer and the bottom layer meet up to the point where the top layer is sitting right sort of shallow to the pockets, which means that things in the pockets don't travel to the pockets.
Of course,
and they don't rattle around.
Yes.
The moment you put the top layer on top, that's what you get.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the forward watch case. The forward watch case also has a sort of a hidden underlayer where you can put tools and things like that. And, you know, we've seen the different types of people will buy different types of cases. So now that I've got the metrics from the website, things like that, it's easier to determine where we want to go.
Of course, yeah.
So we're prototyping other models now, which I can't tell you about yet.
Of course.
You've had eyes
on it,
but
it's exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah, so, you know, we really want to cater to all watch users and all watch travelers. And, you know, a lot of people that buy our cases don't travel at all.
Yeah.
They have them at home.
Yeah.
They use them to take their cases to their safe deposit box, their watches to safe deposit box, or put them in the safe. The amount of people that have asked me, you know, can you send me the exact dimensions because I want to see if it fits in the safe.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's growing arms and legs, and I'm chuffed because I have no idea what I'm doing on the business side.
Mate, you don't need to though. I mean, essentially, mate, you're making stuff that all of us want and need. Like my case has been invaluable to me for a long time, simply because I've got 2 young kids. They see me fluffing and faffing around with watches all day, and what the kids want to do, they want to do what daddy does. So when daddy goes to work, there's a danger of them, going in, oh, what's that spinny sound? Do you know what I mean? Banging stuff off table.
Yeah.
I can put it in there. It gets clipped down and it's stowed away somewhere where even if they find it, they can't get into it. I just know it's right. I know it's comfy, it's safe. It's not getting covered in dust because obviously it's an airtight unit.
Yep.
God forbid, you know, something should happen and someone hits it, knocks it, pushes it over. Nothing's like, it's fine. It's bomb proof.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's literally, as we would call it, bombers. And that's a benefit. I mean, fundamentally, mate, a lot of us in the hobby are not, you know, contrary to popular belief, billionaires. And essentially what we've got tied up in mechanical things that sit in our wrist is a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? And we don't want that getting damaged or broken, or, you know, even if it's repairable, it's a bloody fortune. So having some form of security around things is fundamental.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's where Black Jess comes in, mate. And it's a cracking option. It really is. It's like it's certainly a choice I've made. You know, a box clicks together, clicks in, equalizing valve, secure, you know, lockable. It's perfect.
You know, I'm fear of falling into, like, you know, standard things for sexes and whatnot. It's a manly thing. Do you know what I mean? The handle is a handle. The case is a case.
It's substantial.
When you grab it, you feel that there's like there's substance there. There's something.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was never in those sort of luxury things. There's much better options out there if you want luxury and things like that. This is not what we're doing.
What
we're doing is ruggedness.
Yeah.
I've got customers all over the world, really, and they send me pictures. And, you know, they take their watches, the cases in the middle of the snow, or when they go camping, or, you know, and it's given them that peace of mind.
Of course.
That I can go anywhere. And I can take my watches, which before was a bit sketchy because, you know, what do you do? How do you carry them? And if you take like a leather box with it's all nice and pretty to have in your house, you can't take that.
Well, you're going to wreck it if you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to wreck it.
And if it falls, it falls. It doesn't matter because the watches are going to be fine.
Mate, to go full circle, right? You've taken the knowledge and the approach that you've developed and learnt through adventure bikes with BMW and brought that into the watch space.
It's a small pannier for watches, is what we're saying. Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you travel long distance, you need to know how to pack and you need to know what goes with what because you know, you don't want things that might burst and leak next to other things that don't like leaking.
Of course.
So yeah, you learn how to intelligently pack things in small environments.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in essence, they are small panniers.
Yeah, mate, it's epic. I'm a fan. I love what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
I love how you're doing it. I love how you're engaging with people in the space, mate. I love how much fun you're having with it as well. It would be really easy to just make this like a boring generic thing. You're not. Yeah. I mean, you're having some, I say some, quite considerable fun with it, mate. And I can't sing highly enough about it.
It's something that then has taken me to meet some amazing people as well. Our first sort of collaboration from a business perspective has been with Bokan, with Daniel. Because I shoot watches still. That's part of my thing. So I photograph watches. I work with brands, I work with dealers, So I get my hands on really interesting pieces that I wouldn't be able to afford. So it keeps the monster at tame about buying new things because I get to handle them for a week or two, whatever. Right? So it takes away that sort of eagerness to go and buy things.
Of course, yeah.
And I met Daniel through mutual friends on the watch world. Immediately I identified with the brand, with Bokan, because the ethos of both brands are roughly the same.
Of course. Yeah.
It's adventure stuff. It's going out there and doing things, and we both immediately clicked, thinking, well, why don't we make the packaging of the case?
Of course.
Instead of you getting like a wooden box or like a cardboard box that you're going to put in the attic and never touch again until you come to sell that watch.
Yeah.
Why don't we make the packaging part of the story, part of the function, where you now can carry more things, just not just your watch, and then go out there and do things with it. Yeah. So we made a sort of a one-off case that carries just one watch. It's got more room for things, and it's got like a special design for Bokan, and they've been a hit because it adds functionality to a piece of the watch experience that otherwise is just inert.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you get a Patek Philippe, the box is beautiful, but how many times are you actually using the box?
It gets stowed away. And you keep it because you know it's going to be valuable. It's important to keep with the box.
Yeah, but you don't keep it around because if it scratches, it loses the value and whatnot. These are things that you can kick around the room, literally, and they're fine. I've made custom inserts for all of my stuff. Like my drone has a custom insert in one of my cases. Some of my camera gear, some of my toys and things like that, they go in, I've got a shelf in my office full of these cases, and on top, I've got this massive Lego Land Rover Defender.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm halfway through building mine, mate.
Yeah. Enjoy the build. Yeah. Because then it goes, whatever.
It's stowed away. It's the same thing. Away. Yeah, it's like the box.
I'm halfway through building a BMW motorbike.
Wow.
Yeah. So, the whole sort of adventure type of outdoorsy ethos clicked on very well, which meant that, I've now made a fantastic friend, as I like to consider Daniel, and I'm working with a fantastic brand that I believe in, and it's opening all sorts of doors.
Mate, it's epic. It's epic to see. It's epic to watch it. As I said to Daniel on the last episode, mate, we stumbled across each other in person really for the first time at that show, and you guys were just like vibing there. It was epic, mate. It was epic. It's awesome.
It was kind of, that event was kind of weird for me because I had never been in a watch event at all, and all of a sudden there I am spending 5 minutes with Roger Smith talking about it, and it blew my mind, right? But the thing that we had a stand with all the Bokan watches that the idea was to show the Odyssey and whatnot, and I had made a special 5 watch case, presentation case for all the Audis, all the versions and whatnot, and it had like the Audi shark sort of placing engraved on it. And all the people were coming in and grabbing the watches. They're great watches. They look great. They feel great. Oh, it's heavy and all that. And you're talking through the specs and whatnot. Because I was there really with Bokan, and about 25% of people were like, yeah, the watches are great, but look at their cases. And I was like, no. We're the watches here today, mate. But it was just so eye opening to see because people that you would think they've seen everything in the industry, they get so excited.
Well, mate, they're excited for a reason. So for those who are listening, where can they find you?
So mostly Instagram.
Yeah.
Black Chess UK.
Yeah.
Or our website, blackchess.co.uk.
Yeah.
That's really where you find all our stuff. Like I said, when you know how to do something, doing it for yourself is a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
So I'm not as active as I would like to be on Instagram.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be ramping that up soon.
Mega.
But yeah, I mean, it's really there, socials and the website.
Perfect. Well, guys, please, please, please go and check these guys out. What they're doing is insane. I'm a massive fan. It's going to suit you guys a lot. And Nacho, mate, once again, thanks for making the journey, mate. Come and spend time with us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me. I mean, it was a lovely drive, so thank you for inviting me.
Perfect. Thank you. Until next time.